Hey, 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 I'm live at 5. 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 Come on inside of the StreamYard room. Somebody go get Tamu and let her know that it's Clutch Your Pearls Wednesday. Yes, it is. Tell Tamu I don't want no mess out of her today. We got the mental stimulation or mental whatever it was on Monday, but today is Clutch Your Pearl Wednesday. The conversation that I want to have with you today is take the bull by the horns. Put it in the chat. Take the bull by the horns. Let me see who's out there. Hey, Sissy Red Dress, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's get into this conversation. But before we do, let me introduce myself. My name is Denise Merriweather. I am the CEO and founder of Queen Panoa's Jumpstart Program. Yes, it's the #1 training environment for women in the world looking to leverage their knowledge, ignite their passion, and build a highly profitable business. And how do you do this? By building your courage, confidence, and competence so you can accept, belief, and commit to what it is that God has called you to do. So let's go ahead and get into this conversation of taking the bull by the horn. So I think you may have been present, or maybe you remember it was a conversation I had not too long ago about booking a trip and getting quoted one price and then got a different price maybe like the next week, less than 7 days later. Do y'all remember that? This Clutch Your Pearls Wednesdays. That's right, LaShawn. It is Clutch Your Pearl Wednesday. Do y'all remember that conversation? If you remember that conversation, put yes. And if not, you need to go back and check out the conversation. But in short, I didn't take the actions initially that I felt like I needed to take, right? And the only reason why was because I wasn't given the information I needed to act accordingly, right? Sometimes people withhold information from you for whatever reason, right? I don't know. Maybe the person just didn't want to let me know that it was a sale going on and that I needed to take fast action if I wanted to take advantage of the sale. But I didn't know that. So I thought I had time. Put it in the chat. I thought I had time. And some of y'all have things in your life that you think you got time for. So just go ahead and put it in the chat. I thought I had time. So because I thought I had time, I didn't take actions that I knew would have been appropriate if I knew I didn't have time and I was running out of time. Put it in the chat. Uh, if I knew I was running out of time, put it in the chat. If I knew I was running out of time, right? Because it's all about the actions that we're taking or not taking, right? Because you think sometimes not taking actions don't mean that it causes anything, but I promise you, taking action gives you a result, and not taking action also gives you a result. Do you get that? Do you get that whichever one you choose, it still brings forth some type of result? You can either take the action or you can not take the action, but the result is still coming. Yes? Do you get that? Put it in the chat. Taking the action or not taking the action still brings forth results. Taking the action or not taking the action still bring forth results. Remember, I told you it's Clutch Your Pearls Wednesday, so don't be mad at me. We already know what happens on Wednesday. So taking the bull by its horns just reminds me, and hopefully it reminds you, that whether you take action or don't take action, the bull is still running in the race. And you can either be a part of the accomplishment or not. And while I sit here and I think about all these different things that I'm dealing with in life, which I'm sure you have some stuff dealing with life. Remember, I didn't go live on Friday because I was talking to my family's lawyer, right? Because stuff is happening and it's happening for all of us. But I want you to get that there are some things that you can take the bull by the horns and you're not doing it. Put it in the chat. Take the bull by the horns. And let me tell you what we're normally dealing with when it comes to taking the bull by the horns. We don't want to make a mistake. We don't want to look foolish. We don't want to be to blame for something not going according to plan. But here's what I'm trying to tell you. Not taking the action, you still going to be blamed. You still not going to get the results that you want. And 9 times out of 10, it's affecting your life. You're going to be the person that's held accountable. Do you understand? Take the bull by the horns. Take the bull by the horns. So instead of you just sitting by and watching your life crumble and things not work out and being in disappointment and upset, wouldn't you rather take some form of action to say, at least I went for it, at least I turned the rock over? Put it in the chat, turn the rock over. Put it in the chat, turn the rock over. Because at some point, you have to be frustrated and upset with continuing to see things in your life not work out according to your plan. Now, don't get me wrong. You know that I'm a spiritual human being, and this is all intertwined with prayer, talking to God, being in his in the path that he would have you to go, being in communication with him, having a relationship with him. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm not saying just go AWOL and just do whatever it is you want to do, but My friend Tamika sent me a quote this weekend from a trainer that she was in, and it said, the only way to have a predictable life is to create it. Put it in the chat. I think it's something like that, and I don't even know who the quote is from. But the only way to predict like how your life is going to turn out is if you create it. So if you're waiting for someone to decide or to make something happen for you or to vote in your favor or to think of you when opportunities come, you got to be kidding me if that's what you want to hang your whole life on. You wait for somebody to look out for you. You wait for somebody to think of you for an opportunity. You wait for somebody to feel like, oh my God, this would be fair if I called LaShawn, if I called Deneen, if I called Tamika, if I called Tamu, if I called Tiffany, new Tiffany, old Tiffany, Missy, right? Do you think Tiki T? Do you think people are actually sitting, living their life, creating the life that you want? Or whose responsibility do you think it is? So I got 3 things that I want you to think about when it's time for you to take the bull by the horn. And here is the other thing that I battle with. And I promise you, I know you think because I'm bold and because I'm courageous and I have confidence that I don't battle with the way that I show up in the world. I battle each and every day just like you. Why? Because I am concerned to rub people the wrong way or to be too aggressive or to come off as mean or conceited or all these things, right? Because that's not in the business that I'm in. I don't want to hurt people, break people down, make people feel uncomfortable. No, I want to uplift people. I want to encourage people. I want to empower people. So the way that I communicate with people, it does make a difference. Put this in the chat. Everything matters. Don't walk around here thinking like everything don't matter, because it matters. Everything matters. The way you talk to people, the way you show up, the things that you're doing in life each and every day, the decisions that you make, the decisions that you don't make, the conversations that you're having, the conversations that you're not having, it all matters and it all makes a difference, and it's all bringing forth some form of result. So I want you to get this. Put it in the chat. Take the bull by the horns. So the first thing that I want you to do, and I really, really want you to do, Tiffany, I was just talking about you. You must have felt it in your spirit. Listen. I want you to bet on yourself. Put it in the chat. Bet on myself. Because every time I don't move as swiftly or aggressively or confidently as I know to, I pay the price. Do you get exercising or living life outside of your nature, right? The way that God created you? Because there's certain things God has given us based on our personality, our upbringing, the experiences he knew he was going to have. Some people have a gentle tone in their communication. Some people are more aggressive, maybe loud, maybe have humor, right? These are all personality traits based on where God knew where we would live in the family that he put us in, and all these things, and it matters. And the thing is, every time you start questioning who you are, you mess up. Put it in the chat. When I question who I am, I mess up. And what I want you to get is to bet on yourself, just the way you are and the way that you are not. Put it in the chat. I love the way I am, and I love the way I am not. I love the way I am, and I love the way that I'm not. And I get so moved by this because you just don't understand how much of a battle it is for me not to want to hurt people or upset people or rub people the wrong way. But every time I go against my nature on who I am, I pay for it. And I'm paying for it right now. So here's what I'm telling you. Bet on yourself. You need to do whatever you believe God is telling you, the way he wants you to show up, to act, to speak, to help, to serve. Like, it, just stop trying to be someone else that you think is more pleasant, more kind, more experienced, look better, speak better, communicate better. No. The way that you are and the way that you are not is perfect. Put it in the chat. I am perfect. Put it in the chat. I am perfect. And when you get that, you'll stop questioning how you speak and how you show up and what you say and who you call and how you say it, because it makes no sense for you to live this life questioning who you are every 5 minutes, every time you do something. I am perfect the way that I am. I communicate perfectly. I talk to people in ways that they can receive what it is that I am to say to them at any given moment. And just stop questioning it. Stop doubting who you are. You are okay. And And the worst thing that can happen, the very worst thing that can happen is that you have to apologize. Put it in the chat. I can apologize. Put it in the chat. I can apologize. Do you know you can fix any relationship you want at any time you want? Stop being afraid. Stop it. Stop. It doesn't make any sense. He is not giving you the spirit of fear. See, this is why scripture is great, but it's bad when you don't use it. Put it in the chat. The word applied is where it's at. The word applied is where it's at. It is Clutch Your Pearls Wednesday, and I'm not apologizing for nothing. Put it in the chat. Y'all love quoting scripture. You love being positive and empowering, but look at your life and look at what's happening to you and what you see and what's not going according to what you believe God has called you to. Why are you tiptoeing around here like he hasn't created you to be who you are? Like he hasn't created you to be powerful and confident and secure in who you are. Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. Number 2, trust yourself. Trust everything that he's telling you to say, to do, to just trust it. Who else in this world that you could trust more than yourself? It ain't nobody. It ain't nobody on this earth that you could trust more than you. So why do we ask questions and ask people outside of ourselves what they think and what they believe and how they feel about stuff? Are you bananas? How can they possibly be able to give you any insight on what God told you? They can't. So if you're talking to people, ask them for their help. Remember, I told you the day of silence, the recap was Monday. For you to take some action on the things that he told you to do. Well, here, the action don't mean go ask people for permission. The action don't mean ask them and see if they okay. Don't do that. It doesn't do anything but waste time. Put it in the chat. Asking for permission waste time, and it does. Who here can do anything to you? Who in this world can do anything to harm you and hurt you, to turn around, to make it just so horrible that you can't recover? Remember, the worst thing that can happen to you is that you have to apologize. So I need you to start walking around like the worst thing that can happen is that I have to say I'm sorry. And I'm a big enough person to be able to say I'm sorry. See, some people can't say I'm sorry. Some people don't want to take accountability for the mess that they putting out there. I am going to be responsible for this conversation that I'm having with you today, and I'm not apologizing for it. Do you understand? Number 3, stop being passive. I'm over it. Put it in the chat. I'm over it. Because you think tiptoeing makes it better. Because you think pacifying people, being a yes person, being overly concerned about what they're going to think and how they're going to feel makes it better for you. But then you leave the conversation, you leave the space, you leave the meeting, you leave the career, you leave the job, you leave the vocation, and you mad and upset because you didn't say what you needed to say, and you didn't do what you needed to do, and you didn't have the impact that you wanted to have, and you wasn't able to transform the lives that you were meant to transform. Don't be mad at nobody but yourself. Stop being passive. Because do you understand, there are people that I call, and maybe you too, call passive aggressive, right? They always try to be soft-spoken and nice, like they really overly concerned about you and the feelings of others, but really they just trying to have their way. That's all they doing. They are manipulating you to get you off of what it is that God has called you to do. Stop it. What you need to do is practice how to deliver what you want to deliver so it impact people the way that you need it to, right? That's what you need to be worried about. It's Clutch Your Pearls Wednesday and take the bull by the horns. Now, I'm telling you, I'm learning this from myself more and more each and every day. I'm tired of eggshell walking. I really am. And I know you think I don't. I promise you, I don't walk as hard as I want. I do not walk as hard as I want. Trust me. I am always thinking about how it lands with people. I'm always thinking about how it affects people. But here's the thing. It doesn't mean it's not to be said. And it doesn't mean that it's not to happen. again, what's bringing forth this conversation is that I just see how I haven't been taking the bull by the horns. And it's not that it's not in my personality. It is definitely in my personality. It's definitely something I feel comfortable doing. But when I overthink how it's going to make other people feel, it's when I start messing up, y'all. Do you get it? Do you get it? You sure enough getting an hour. Shanana today is Clutch and Pearl Wednesday. And I'm in upset. I'm in breakdown. I'm in disappointment because I'm just looking at how softly I've been walking in some of the areas of my life, and I don't like it. I don't. I really don't. It's against who I am. It's against my nature. It's against what I believe in. And it's because I don't want to overstep boundaries. And and I'm going to tell you what makes me uncomfortable. And maybe it's the same for you. I feel like when I'm not as confident in what I know, meaning like, let's just say the family lawyers, I become hesitant in saying the things that I want to say to them because I'm not knowledgeable about the law. But it doesn't mean for me not to say or to ask the questions that I need to ask. Like, I think my sister can attest to this. Like, when we was on the call last Friday and why I couldn't come live with you, there were some questions and some things that I asked on that call, like just came straight down the pipe. Like, even one of the comments that our lawyer made, I was like, wait a minute, hold on, stop. Hey, hush. Who made that comment? Because I need to know who mouthpiece that was, right? Like, because sometimes I think people talk to you like you stupid. And see, I got to stop them and let them know, like, nope, we're not going to talk to me like I'm crazy. Yeah, I may not know the law, but here's the thing where I think lawyers mess up. One, you're in the business of trying to prove yourself to be right and your thought process to be right. See, that's not what happens in the real world. See, the real world, I know that you don't know everything and you don't know what you're talking about. I know that you make mistakes like everybody else. I know that you need to learn how to take accountability for the things you mess up, just like everybody else. But see, your job depends on you being right. But I know that that's not how it works. And I know for every loophole that you can fight a case to be right, is another loophole that somebody else can bring up that'll make you just as wrong as two left shoes. But it doesn't negate the fact that when you do screw up and somebody catch you in your screw up, you need to apologize. See, that's half of what we're dealing with as a family now, is that some lawyers done screwed up and they won't take accountability for some crap that they done messed up. So these are the things that just have to be said. And I don't have to say it the way that I'm saying it to you, but it's kind of like, ho, wait a minute. Now I just have to just check. Are you not receiving my communication? Because if so, I mean, we got to check this out. No. And then it was like, no. I'm receiving your communication. My fault. Oh, so now we're taking ownership. Okay, great. But here is how you can smooth it out. Because right after she took ownership of not responding to my communication, here's what I said. You know what? I take accountability too. Why? Because I allowed you to not respond to my communication way longer than I normally would. See, I wouldn't allow somebody to ignore my communication 2 months at a time, right? And that's what I did. I said, but don't you worry. It'll never happen again. Not in this relationship. When I don't hear from you, the most you got is about 48 hours. So do you hear when I compromise who I am based on who I believe someone else is, based on what their position is, what type of person I think they may be, how responsible or accountable I think they should be based on their profession or who they say they are. Here's the thing. When people show you that they are not worthy of whatever you're wanting to extend, the grace and mercy that you want to extend to them, you would be a fool to keep extending it. You have to operate in a way that will still get you the results that you're looking for and make the impact that you want to make. Now, did that destroy the relationship that I have with the lawyer? Absolutely not. But I made her aware on how I'm going to communicate with her. And I'm telling you, if she don't respond to my email in 48 hours, you think I'm sending another email? Nope, I'm starting to blow the phone up. See, and this is how I think we should go after the things that we want. And when we think things should be given to us easily or should be smoother. Because sometimes we say stuff like, well, if this was meant and God really wanted to happen, it would be falling into place. Yeah, sometimes. But sometimes it's going to require you to get in the trenches. Sometimes it's going to require you to do some developing yourself. See, the reason why some things don't come to you is because you're not ready for them. And so you have to go through this. Like I did a event in North Carolina Labor Day weekend. And one of the previous planners was just like, none of this stuff ever happened when I planned it. None of this stuff ever happened. Like, you're facing some of these things for the first time. I get it. See, because God is preparing me for what he prepared me for. See, he didn't give you the upsets and the breakdowns that I'm facing because he's equipping me to prepare me for something greater. So I got to get these lessons now so I can elevate what it is that I'm doing. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with your skill set. It is perfect for me. This conversation, this event, these breakdowns are perfect for me. It's going to give me an opportunity to sharpen the skills he wants me to have for where he's taking me. So don't feel like, hey, it's no special thing and you just, oh, I can't believe this is happening. This is perfect. It's happening just the way it's supposed to happen because God is developing me for where he's taking me. Meaning, the only way for me to get to where I'm going is to go through this right now. Put this in the chat. The only way for me to get to where I'm going is to go through this right now. Because see, some of y'all dreading the upsets and breakdowns that you have going on. But what I'm trying to tell you is to take the bull by the horns. It'll be okay. And the worst thing that could ever happen is that you have to apologize for something that you did. But I promise you, whatever the mistake you make or the upset that you cause or the wrong direction you take, because we're so scary. The only thing that can happen is that you have to apologize. And maybe start again. And maybe start again. Do y'all know how many careers I've had in this lifetime? Like 3 or 4. You know how many start overs I had to do? 3 or 4. When I'm saying back down to the bottom, like back not making the income that I was making before. See, because some of these things right here, when y'all think about this, is starting a career in a business and going after your dreams, you think it's not going to require loss. I promise you, you're going to lose. It's part of you doing something new. It's going to take effort and it's going to take time. Stop thinking that this stuff happens overnight. When you hear about successful people doing things that you want to do, it took them probably at least 10 years before they really start generating any money. But here's the thing. You quit too fast. You doubt yourself. You give up. You stop turning rocks over. You think you're supposed to get there in 2 weeks, and I'm telling you, it may take 20 years. How long did it take for Abraham to have a son? Him and Sarah? Years. Years. How long did it take before Moses was able to free his people? Years. He was in his 80s. Get out my face. But because we act and play like life is so short, and life is short for some of us because we don't take care of ourselves. But do you get that God has the perfect timing? But if you don't stay in the game, put this in the chat. Stay in the game. Stay in the game. You quit too fast. You give up too quick. Stay in the game. Stay in the game. He gave it to you. He placed it on your heart for a reason. Stay in the game. So recap. Take the bull by its horns. Number 1, bet on yourself. Number 2, trust yourself. And number 3, stop being passive. This world ain't passive. And your passive actions and attitudes and the way you walk around here ain't gonna get you where you're trying to go. Just stop it. Because who are you really fooling? Because when you go home, you talk junk. When you're with your friends, you talking smack. Figure out how to formulate that conversation to actually make an impact or influence somebody to give you what it is that you want, or to give you the opportunity that you want, or to join the team that you're putting together to do the things in the world that you want, and kill the passiveness. Because it ain't doing nothing but making me angry. Okay? Clutch Your Pearl Wednesday. I'm sorry, y'all, I had to bring it like that, but that's how I was feeling, because I'm just looking at myself. And I look at my life continuously. And I see myself being passive and easy and laid back and waiting until my turn and not wanting to offend people and don't want to step on people's shoes. That's it. Done. I'm over it. Why it ain't working. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfect just the way I am. And you are perfect just the way you are. So look, always looking forward to serving you. Haven't still decided whether or not I'm going to do a day of silence every month or every quarter, but I do have some amazing things that's going to be starting in the new year. So I'll invite you to an information session, see if you want to be a part of two things. Becoming a Change will start again in January, and a new executive group where I'm going to work with people for a year, 12 months. So it's a 12-month commitment. If you ain't trying to commit for 12 months, it's not for you. But I will invite you to the conversation. There's a few people I'll invite to have the conversation on what I'm building and what they may potentially want it to look like, because they said they want to work with me. So I'm going to include them in what I'm planning to ensure that they get what they need. And then I'm going to offer it to everyone else, and you can join in if you want to join in. I'm thinking no more than 12, 15 people. That's it. Whole year, life transformed. We're going to look different by the end of 2024. And that's whatever we decide to work on. So look, just be thinking about it. See if I'm the person that you want to work with for a year. I'll invite you to the chat section, because remember, the greatest action for fulfillment is brainstorming. Like, that is the structure for fulfillment. Brainstorming. Put it in the chat. The structure for fulfillment is brainstorming. The structure for fulfillment is brainstorming. Put it in the chat. The structure for fulfillment is brainstorming. So get with people that you care about, people that believe in what you're doing, people that invest in what it is that you're doing. Whenever you want to develop and create something, brainstorm and then put it into action. Stop doing all this talking, note-taking, brainstorming, writing stuff down, thinking and talking, and then more thinking and talking. Nope. Do it. Give yourself a timeline. Like when God gave me during the Day of Silence Queenpreneurs Jumpstart program, I promise you, in less than a month, I was selling it. Like, I just cracked open, hey, this is what I'm creating. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to invite you in. This is what the price is going to be. It's the first time I'm doing it. So just know this price ain't going to stay this price. But because you're the first person, y'all going to test it out. This is what it is. Here it is. Register. If you're interested, I'll see you in the first class. That's it. That's what I did. And I built it module by module as we went. I did not have all the slides done and the workbook done. I built it out as I went along. So every week I would work on the next module and build out the workbook. And today, one of my old students called me and was like, Denise, I need the workbook. I was like, oh, you misplaced your workbook? No problem. Here you go. So look, I get that some things that may come, you may not feel like you're ready for, but if it resonates with you, you are ready. The question is, when you get the information, are you going to take the actions that you need to take? That's a you question. That's what you got to decide, because the information is always there. Oh my God. One last thing, and then I'm leaving. I got to go pick my daughter up. Listen. So I was on my trip. I just flew back in last night from Dallas. I flew out Monday to Dallas. As y'all know, I went live in Dallas. And then I came back late yesterday because I had flight issues, wound up having to fly to Chicago, from Chicago here. Crazy. But anyway, I made it. But when I got to Dallas, I realized I left my shower cap. Put it in the chat. This is funny. Just put it in the chat. She left her shower cap. So when I was on the plane, like literally on the plane, I was like, oh my God, I didn't pack my shower cap. And the reason why I keep forgetting the shower cap, y'all, because if you know, like if you leave it in your pack bag and you don't allow it to dry, it is mold, like it is stink. So every time I come home, I take my shower cap and hang it on the back of my door with my shower cap at home. So I went to the store that night. It was a 7-Eleven near the hotel. And when I got back to the room, I was sitting here thinking like, okay, what am I going to use to get in the shower? Because I left my shower cap. Put it in the chat. I left my shower cap. And I took a look at that 7-Eleven bag. Y'all don't even understand how I started shouting. I twisted that hair up and pinned that hair down so I could stretch these curls out. And I took that 7-Eleven bag, tied that knot around in the back, and jumped my happy self in the shower. Because here is the thing that I want you to get. And here's why I say what I say all the time. Everything that you need to start, God has already provided. Yeah, I might have left the shower cap, but he gave me the shower cap when I went to the store and brought the snacks. And I used that 7-Eleven bag that night and that morning. And the locks did not get wet. So maybe there's some things that you already have around you that he's giving you that's in your hand that you wouldn't necessarily normally use as a shower cap, but it's what you need. Think outside the box. Half of the stuff that we do that take us years really would take us 6 months or less. But we want it a certain way. It has to look a certain way. It has to show up the way that we think it needs to show up. That ain't how God operates. Just think outside the box and start asking him some questions like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Do I already have what I need? Do I already have something in hand that I can use? Because I promise you, I know that I didn't want to wet this hair. I know that. And I just was like, what am I do? And I was thinking about the bag that we used to get the ice out the vending machine. I was like, oh, that ain't going to fit. That ain't going to work. And I looked at that 7-Eleven bag like, there go my shower cap. All I'm saying is, you got it. You the it. You the it factor, and you already got what you need. Look, always looking forward to serving you. Clutch Your Pearls Wednesday. Take the bull by the horns. Put it in the chat. Take the bull by the horns. Look around. I promise you what you need is already present. I love you. I'll see you guys on Friday. I'm flying somewhere on Friday. I am flying somewhere on Friday, but I'll be here. Don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. I love you. Always looking forward to serving you. Hey, I'm live at 5.